SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
This is Gerard Gibert, and thank you for listening to MidDays here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
MidDays with Gerard Gibert is on the air. MidDays with Gerard Gibert is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. Get ready to go beyond the headlines and join a meaningful conversation with people from around the state. You're listening to MidDays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to MidDays, SuperTalk Mississippi. I'm your host, Gerard Gibert, on location at the Refuge in Rankin County, the Sheraton Refuge. We're here for the Innovate MS Accelerate Conference, the annual conference held by Innovate Mississippi. Bunch of technology folks running around here, Rhino safe and sound. Back in the SuperTalk Mississippi headquarters. We'll be guiding you through the middle of your day with facts, fodder, and fine music on this
Hump Day.
And a gorgeous one out there it is this morning. Not quite as chilly as it has been the last couple of days. Just really perfect conditions, perfect weather, great venue. We're all set for some really enlightening discussions with various folks that are attending the conference here. We'll talk about some of the new technology being shown by some of these very aggressive startups and entrepreneurs that are showing their wares here, in some cases to investors, some to potential customers and partners. We're going to be talking to Tony Jeff, the president and CEO of Innovate Mississippi, Jamie Miller, CEO, Gulf Coast Business Council, also a board member of Innovate Mississippi. Jewel Burks Solomon, managing partner, Collab Capital. Of course, these startup companies that have these great ideas, they need some money to get going to fund their initial startup and keep them going and hopefully become profitable and monetize that investment one day. So we'll be finding out more about that. Also, Clark Love, partner, Alden Capital, LLC, Tasha Bibb, Senior Program Manager in Mississippi State's Office of Technology Management, Trevor Acey, Senior Program Manager for the Mississippi State Entrepreneurship Center. And then we'll wrap things up with the winner of the Invest Mississippi Scale Up Pitch. Innovate Mississippi will be presenting an award to whomever does the best with their pitch. I know a few people here that are pitching their ideas. This is so fun. I mean, this is really on a small scale, but hopefully it'll be a big scale one day. It truly does represent the best virtues of capitalism. These are people who come here with ideas, and they seek to transform those ideas to commercial goods and services, to serve society, to provide societal value. They pitch these ideas to investors who either like them or they don't. And if they do, then they decide to provide some capital. And there are all kinds of different structures and forms of that, from debt financing to equity financing and all sorts of nuances associated with those financing agreements. And they expect those budding entrepreneurs to leverage that capital to cause their idea to come to fruition and materialize. And then they, of course, market those goods and services to consumers. And those consumers could be individuals, they could be organizations, could be businesses. Just depends on the nature of the good or service, with the hopes that people want to spend their money on what they're providing and that produces a profit. I know this is all straightforward, common sense stuff, but Rhino, you like to say common sense ain't so common, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this country that don't understand a very simple concept I just explained there. They don't get it. And they get mad when these people have these ideas, and they get a little money to put to work to turn their idea into from a concept to a product or service that can then be marketed to society, and they make money off of it. And they think that all these people that did so and ended up making a lot of money off their idea, they just woke up one day and had money in the bank. They never think about the road, the path to that. And that's just to that ultimate point where their ideas, their concepts are monetized. And they're monetized because people are willing to pay for whatever it is they created. It's really simple. This is what we have to preserve, in my view, in this country. This is what distinguishes this country. This ecosystem I just described is what distinguishes this country from all the others. Because if you have an idea and you want to secure capital to turn that idea, transform it again into action, into something that other people are willing to pay for, this is the only country where that is possible at the level it is. And all this stuff that we enjoy today and have for decades, almost all of it came about through that exact same process. There's no limit, in my view, to human innovation. And humans will continue to innovate, and innovation is what addresses and solves human problems. I get upset when the left says, oh, no, you just got to do without. I mean, I was thinking about 1973. I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. That's when all hell broke loose in the energy world, and the fear-mongering from a cross-section of people in business and government. Oh, you just got to change your lifestyle. Put your thermostat on 78 in the summer and 62 in the winter. We're running out of gas. No more oil. It's over. It's done. You're just going to have to convert and give up a lot. Carter, oh my gosh, what a nutcase he was. And, of course, that continued through his tenure, his term as president. And Ronald Reagan came in and said, you know what, if we deregulate, if we provide some inspiration and change the tax structure in this country, that will encourage more human innovation, and we'll probably go out and find more fossil fuels and more energy, and surely we did. Surely we did. So it's hard to believe it's 50 years ago they were telling us, we're running out. It's over. It's done. You just got to get used to it. You need to change your lifestyle immediately. Heck, Ron, I remember folks from the energy industry coming to my high school when I was like in the 9th grade, 10th grade, and had a full assembly of all 4 grades, 9 through 12 in my high school. And they were preaching all this stuff to us, literally telling us this in 73, 74. You just got to learn to do without. No, humans solve problems using human innovation and creativity. And that is on display here, and that's the point I'm trying to make at Innovate Mississippi. It's alive and well in the state of Mississippi. Yeah, we're all stupid. Trump said it last night to Ingram. Leave it to you, Thomas, to politicize that and take a shot at Donald Trump. I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, other than I did catch the president talking to Laura Ingram about how much since he's been in office we have seen a decline in the cost of living. I disagree with the president on that. He cited some figures that were less than fully accurate. The price of gas wasn't $4.50 when he took office. It is down because of, I think, combination of a lot of factors. Deregulation has slightly increased production in this country. OPEC has boosted also its output, but then we've got other countries such as China who are not consuming as much. And Thomas, once again, you are fully obsessed with H-1Bs. I can only guess that you are at risk of losing your job because somebody's willing to do it at a lower wage than you are. You would embrace that in government, would you not? But not the private sector when it affects your job. So be consistent about that. No, I'm not going to defend H-1Bs. I've made it very clear that I think there is a place and there is some value for H-1Bs as originally designed and contemplated. Today, I fully agree and accept and believe that they are being abused. But you are obsessed with profit above all else. You're completely wrong, Thomas. I'm surprised that a person like you doesn't understand the basic concept. If you don't treat people right, if you don't treat customers right, you don't make any profit. So the obsession with profit, yeah, I am obsessed with that. I'm a capitalist, and I won't apologize for that. You're not. You're not. You profess to be, but you're not. Because capitalists understand that the greatest path to producing the largest amount of profit is in serving society. And that means customers, partners, and, of course, consumers. I guess you don't get that concept. We're coming right back. Once again, the Element Wealth Studio at the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference.
Patriotism is a law.
This segment of Middays with Gerard Gibert is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
You know what that means.
Middays with Gerard Gibert.
We'll do it live.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays today at the Refuge, the Sheraton Refuge Golf Course out in Rankin County, Mississippi. That's where we are. We're here for the annual Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. All these great technology companies, many of them startups here in the Magnolia State, are demonstrating their wares and showing everything that's going on. And sometimes they're trying to pitch folks to get some capital. And in other cases, they are just trying to show what they're doing to get some customers potentially. So, all right. So we are now pleased to welcome Jamie Miller, the CEO of the Gulf Coast Business Council. Jamie, good to see you again. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So, what exactly brings you here today, Jamie, in your role with the Gulf Coast Business Council?
Yeah, the Gulf Coast Business Council saw a need in the entrepreneurial kind of sector to get an initiative started. We kicked off earlier this year called Startup Gulf Coast. Create, launch, accelerate. And we're partners with Innovate Mississippi to do that. They've got, I think, 8 ecosystem partners around the state. The Business Council was selected to be one of those partners on the Gulf Coast. And so, as you can imagine and what you see just day to day, like startup companies, AI, technology, we really are trying to fill a gap that I saw on the Gulf Coast to really amplify what those young founding companies were trying to do, match them with mentors, match them with investors. Traditionally, we're more involved in traditional industry, larger business corporations. But I really think the future, and we've seen this in the state and around the country, is we've got to give more attention to these startup companies in Mississippi.
Yeah, and in particular, we want them to not only start here, we want them to stay here.
That's right.
And that's what's most important. But I feel like, Jamie, that with the success we've had in landing some of these big economic development projects on major household names, right, and involved in the technology industry, my experience of being in the technology industry is there's a tendency to concentrate around these big guys like this. And so the big AWS project, for example, in central Mississippi, I think will have a cascading effect and will actually draw lots of other related technology companies that may not have a direct business relationship with AWS. They just kind of like to be around it. And that's good for Mississippi because we want those companies based here and doing business here.
Yeah, when you get a name like AWS coming to Mississippi, it captures the national attention.
Yeah.
Companies trying to start up want to be around those larger companies. Capital's been an issue probably in this part of the country.
Yeah.
I think we're answering some of those issues. They want customers like AWS or clients. So I really feel like we're at a great position. And the Lieutenant Governor talked about it earlier this year, just with the fiscal responsibility the state has taken. And conferences like this today, we had a pitch competition earlier this year. One of our winners went on to pitch yesterday to a statewide group here. Talked a lot about blockchain and making blockchain easier. And I clearly don't understand all the technicality of that, but AI has just become a part of almost all the pitch companies that are pitching in some way. And it's time to embrace it, and so we want to do that.
Yeah, you're so right. In the business world these days, these CEOs and executives that are making speeches at various events and conferences, might even be their own, might be their update to the analyst on Wall Street. If they don't include artificial intelligence about every other word, right, the investors and the outsiders may say, wait, you guys aren't participating in this revolution, in this wave, which I think is just fantastic. I think, honestly, there's so much benefit to be derived from that. And the good news, Jamie, down in your way, Dr. Colin Napier at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, who heads up the Mississippi Artificial Intelligence Network. Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College has got it going on. I mean, all of them do, but that's kind of the epicenter of it.
Yeah, I think he's leading Maine, the network. We've also got, we're going to build the Mississippi Cyber Initiative, which is going to come online with the building the Mississippi Cyber Center in Biloxi. Cybersecurity is going to be another opportunity for tech companies to get involved and cluster around a density of federal and state investments, and then hopefully we'll draw those private investments around it.
So what do you hear from your business members that are part of the business council? Do they express fear about this new technology? Do they embrace it? They're kind of in a wait-and-see posture right now?
The ones that I've talked to, the CEOs like Ingalls Shipbuilding or Hancock Whitney or even Chevron, they clearly are embracing it. They clearly are on the front edge, I think, of customer engagement. They see it as enhancing their businesses, making them more efficient. Obviously, there's probably there's always a question of how many jobs will be replaced with AI. The question is, if you're not using AI, you're definitely going to be replaced.
Yeah.
So the feedback we've had is that it's being embraced widely.
It's Jensen Huang, of course, the founder, CEO of NVIDIA, who says on a regular basis, AI is not going to take your job. Somebody using it's going to take your job.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Well, that's good to hear, because anytime you have new technology, honestly, it's been that way since I've been in the industry. AI just happens to be the widget of the day.
Yeah.
But there's always some resistance to change and fear of the unknown, and that's all valid. But I think we have to accept this is reality, and I believe it's a matter of national security and future posterity. So I think we're in good shape there.
Yeah, our annual meeting we hosted earlier this year in Biloxi, we had a speaker come and talk about AI. It's kind of starting at the 101 all the way to very advanced thoughts about AI. We want to introduce it to the folks that maybe have some reluctance about embracing it.
Sure.
But also give examples of how mainstream industries are already using it to their advantage. And you don't, if you're probably certainly 25 or younger, or even 30 or younger, you don't have to convince that generation about it. I mean, they're
using it all the time, every day, and it's become sort of part of their mainstream life. For the most part. Well, that's good to know. But it feels like that Mississippi, this is an area where we're not lagging, or we're not following, that we're leading. I think with Dr. Napier, that we have the AI task force that's been created. We've got lots of companies creating tools that have AI infused in them. It seems like we're doing well there.
I feel like AI is kind of it levels the playing field, even for our organization. I use it widely for just like administrative efficiency and those types of things. But you take AI, anybody that's willing to kind of dig into it a little bit, apply it, are going to create small, individual, powerful companies. And there's no reason Mississippians who have traditionally been creators, frankly, are going to take this new technology and apply it. I think we've got just as great a chance of success as anybody.
I totally agree. So one of the things, as you know, that's critical from a business perspective is you can have, I was just talking about in the last segment, you can have a great idea, but generally speaking, you need some money.
That's right.
You need some money to turn that idea into something that is marketable and monetize it. And the good news is an event like this brings together those ideas with the providers of that capital.
Yeah, capital has always been what, as I appreciate it, was kind of the missing piece in Mississippi. It's concentrated in Boston, New York, Chicago, Austin, Silicon Valley. But even those venture capitalists or those investors are recognizing that the companies they're supporting don't have to be in those markets.
Right.
They can be anywhere.
Right.
And events like today bring that attention to these companies. The pitch competition that was held yesterday, the partnership with Microsoft.
Yeah.
All those things are gaining greater attention, and investors are noticing. So.
Well, you see the exhibitors here today that are in front of us. We've got accounting firms. We've got financial institutions. We've got just outside investors. We've got lawyers. All of those are the ingredients and the elements you need when you're starting a company.
Yeah. Well, you were in business for a long time, and I suspect at some point in that running a company, you felt like you were always talking to your accountant, your attorney.
Yeah.
Everything becomes a legal
financial
question.
partners.
Yeah. Contractual.
Yeah.
And so that's same true with someone that's just starting a new company. It's the basis for how their company is going to exist and grow. And so, yeah, that's why they're here. They see the value in it, and hopefully they're making some connections today.
Yeah, and I think the good news is that ecosystem is alive and well and thriving here in Mississippi. So we're well positioned for these entrepreneurs to pitch their ideas, get some capital, get some advice from accountants, lawyers, and turn those into, most importantly, great Mississippi companies. That's
right.
What we want.
We don't want to just launch them here. We want to keep them here.
Yeah.
And the Business Council is trying to do its part in our part of the state. Like I said, we've launched Startup Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
You can go to our website, startupgulfcoast.com. Get involved. We're going to host 3 networking events over the next couple months to invite entrepreneurs, people interested maybe in getting more information about it. So we're going to continue to build our ecosystem on the coast.
Before we go, we got just a few seconds. The networking events may be the most valuable thing you do. Would you agree?
I thought I knew how to network, and I show up at one of these events, and you have just 10 people walk up to you. They know, entrepreneurs know how to be assertive and figure it out.
It's critical.
And so, yeah, I've given a bunch of cards. I don't know if I can help every one of them, but sometimes it's just the connecting them to the next person
exactly
they
right.
need is
just
what
being
matters.
resourceful.
Yeah.
Jamie Miller, CEO of Gulf Coast Business Council, has been our guest. Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you.
Yep. We're stepping aside for a break. The Element Well Studios at the Sheraton Refuge in Rankin County for the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. Coming right back.
Check it out. Let's do this.
The talk that keeps Mississippi talking. Middays with Gerard Gibert
Let's get on with it.
on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And during the few moments that we have left, we want to talk right down to earth in a language that everybody here can easily understand.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays. We're in Rankin County today at the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. This is an annual event. Accelerate Mississippi, I think, Rhino, been around 25 years or so. I was involved in getting the thing off the ground as a technology company in the state when it was launched. It's a great idea. It does a great job promoting the innovation and technology industry in the state of Mississippi, assisting startups and just linking these startup companies, again, with all the resources they need to get their idea into something of value to provide to the market, and building companies and hiring people and buying the assets and the resources they need to operate a company. That's what we want. That's economic growth, and this organization is involved in guiding folks that have these ideas. They just want to, again, put them into practice as goods and services that the market consumes. Mike from Madison says, hey, G, if you get a chance, get his opinion or thoughts on Ocean Aero in Gulfport. They are a startup and moved from California. Yeah, we interviewed those guys last year. Fascinating company, and certainly a tremendous asset to the Gulf Coast and the state of Mississippi. And we did talk to them about why they decided to locate their company in the state of Mississippi. And it's really what you think. It's a business-friendly environment from a government perspective. Low taxes and lenient regulation, certainly not onerous regulation. And, of course, they're on the Gulf of America, on the Gulf Coast, which fits into their business. And then just to their north, the University of Southern Mississippi, which has a fantastic set of programs that really focus on the so-called blue economy. So all of those elements combined were a driving reason and comprised the factors that encouraged them to locate in the great state of Mississippi. Man, what a huge win it was for Mississippi. Totally agree. So, yes, last night the president did make a comment that has got a lot of folks upset. He said on an interview with Laura Ingraham on Fox News that the U.S. economy has to, quote, bring in talent, in some cases on the H-1B specialist visa program, which is popular in the tech world. When Laura Ingraham pressed the president that there were talented people in America companies could hire, the president, he kind of got onto her, batted her down with some comments. He said, no, you don't. He said, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off of an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you in a factory, and we're going to make missiles. So these have enraged many of the MAGA supporters of the president who saw this stance really as, I guess, a conflict of the America First agenda, which should be prioritizing American workers. So I have concerns about what the president said as well. Again, I say there is a proper role for the H-1B visa program, but it should be used as a last resort, limited basis. I do think it's fair to say there are some situations where there are people that possess skills to fill voids, to take on the work that may not be available in this country. But I also think before an H-1B visa is issued to an immigrant that the companies should have to prove that they've exhausted all possibilities and simply couldn't find the American talent. Now, as an American, I want the best and brightest in this country producing for America, but I don't want to do that at the expense of Americans. If we have sufficient human resources to take on these needs, then we certainly should prioritize American workers. That's a no-brainer, and the H-1B visa should only be used again as an absolute last resort. Can't find Americans that are able to handle those jobs. So that's my view on it. So I think the president, probably got out over his skis a little bit in that respect. And I'm not sure if somebody's in his ear telling him that. Yes, I do think that there are American companies that are abusing the H-1B visa program and that they're not using it, again, to fill job needs that they can't find Americans to do. Rather, they're using it to just cut their cost, to just replace American workers with foreign workers at a lower wage, or they're hiring them into jobs over American workers, new jobs that they're creating, vacated jobs over American workers just because they can get them for less money. I don't agree with that, and I think it's a problem that should be investigated because that, honestly, that's a pretty blatant violation of the H-1B visa guidelines and rules. So you just keep sending me stuff here, Thomas, and now you're sending me something that Trump said in 2016. So I think the president is of the view, this is my take on it, that the H-1B visa program is being used as intended, that it's to hire talent when there is no American equivalent. I think somebody needs to advise the president and notify him that, yeah, it's being abused, Mr. President. But where are the bureaucrats? Rhino, is this it's not my problem deal? I mean, because
ding, ding.
This is enforced at the agency level, right, in the executive branch. Why aren't they administering and overseeing that program to ensure that the H-1B visas are being granted in accordance with law? I think there is abuse going on out there. And there's an easy solution to it. It's just to enforce the law. It's kind of like immigration law. We had law when Biden was president. It just wasn't being enforced. And so it feels like it's being abused now because we have bureaucrats, the not my problem people that are looking the other way. And I have an issue with that. So I'm in agreement with you on that, Thomas. But this idea that you can't separate profit from people, they are inextricably linked. And I feel like I can talk a little bit about that with some credibility, having run a company for 33 years where the demand for talent is the most competitive of any industry. Poachers calling my people every day trying to hire them, every dang day from all over the country. So you don't treat those people right, they seek greener pastures, and your company won't survive. Or if you replace them with lesser competent, lower skilled, lower quality people, the market will punish you, and you won't make any profit. So the path to optimizing profit is to deliver fantastic, exceptional service, whether that's in the form of the products that you supply if you're in the product business, but even then you still have a service component, a human service component, but you got humans making the products. So I think they're inextricably linked. I don't think it's a either or. Well, you can either have good people or you can make a profit. That's just horse hockey. It's quite the opposite. Somebody said on the C Spire text line, Elon Musk came here on an H-1B. Okay, but what are the details? Did he possess some skills and talents that were unique in filling a job for whomever his employer was? So, all right, the government looks like it's going to open up, and we're going to change gears a little bit. And the flight troubles, as being reported by the industry, are not likely to end when the shutdown does. Congress is on track to end the shutdown and put everything back to normal at least. But Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy yesterday said it's going to take some time to resolve the issues even after the government reopens. Quote, airlines reduced flight schedules cannot immediately bounce back to full capacity right after the government opens. It will take time, and there will be residual effects for days. Airlines for America, a lobbying group for major airlines, that's what they actually said in a statement. But it looks like we're getting there. However, this historic shutdown is nearly over, but the Speaker of the House, he's got a pretty tough road to hoe ahead of him. He's going to be confronting a myriad of issues, and they are going to be controversial, to say the least, rather painful, I would say. We're going to discuss some of those in the program today. But right now it's time for a break. When we come back, it's Tony Jeff, the president and CEO of Innovate Mississippi.
Middays with Gerard Gibert.
Welcome to our shop.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Okay, now you have a good one.
It's you and me, baby, no one else we could trust. We'll say nothing to no one, know how we bust, and never
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays. We're at the Innovate Mississippi Annual Accelerate Conference at the Sheraton Refuge in Rankin County. It's our pleasure to welcome now Tony Jeff. He's the president and CEO of Innovate Mississippi. Tony, thanks for coming on.
I'm so glad to be a part of this. I appreciate y'all being here today.
So this event, I've watched it through the years, as you have. It just seems like it gets bigger and better with more interest, more exhibitors, just more action every year, huh?
It really has. This is our 26th annual event, our conference. We bring everyone together from the ecosystem. This year in particular, we were excited. We brought in working closely with the small business development centers as well, because although Innovate Mississippi, we call ourselves kind of the Shark Tank for technology startups, the SBDC works with a lot of other businesses that are not necessarily investor focused, more bankable, but that basically gives everyone in Mississippi who's got a startup or small business a place to go.
Well, speaking of bankable, we were talking to Jamie Miller with the Gulf Coast Business Council earlier. So you bring together the entire ecosystem here. You've got technology startups that are pitching their ideas to potential investors so that they have access to those who have capital that may have an interest in funding their idea. But you've got lawyers, accountants, advisors, consultants, potential partners as well.
That's exactly right. So we have 8 regional partners, and each of them are trying to build in each area of the state their own ecosystem. That obviously starts with the ideas, the companies, but mentors to mentor the companies, those service providers, and frankly, it takes a special kind of lawyer, accountant, or someone like that to work with startups. Those service providers are really important. And then even the investor networks. I think it's best to start local, and we've really tried to build those from the local regions up to statewide, and now the whole Southeast. We've had investors here from all over.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So they're paying attention to what's going on in Mississippi, and they're seeing that this is a good place to launch a new business in the technology industry.
It really is, and so we've seen several companies over the years that investors would be. We'd have Mississippi investors, but then we'd also have some from New Orleans or elsewhere. And as those deals have been successful, they're always asking us for more. So we would certainly we only work with Mississippi-based companies, but a lot of the funding, a lot of the investors are all over. And as long as they're investing in Mississippi, we're all for that.
So talk a little bit about the services you provide to these entrepreneurs, these startups. Many of them come to the organization Innovate Mississippi with just that, an idea, and they're looking for guidance. Where do I go from here? How do I get this idea from out of my head to some good or service that we can sell to the market?
Well, and we really do like to catch them at the idea stage, because we think we can help them through kind of a coaching connect model to work through the process better than if they're out there on their own for some time. But we will take them at every stage, and sometimes we find them 2 years later after they've already been working through things. But we really help them set up that step-by-step process to become an investor-ready deal. And then when they reach that point, and we can bring them connections during that whole process.
Sure.
And then when they reach the point of being an investor-ready deal, we have an investor network. We have angel funds we've helped set up. And we now have a way to match that funding through a venture fund that we now manage.
Yeah. Well, if somebody has an interest listening to us right now, Tony, what should they do if they've been thinking about something that they want to create and they need guidance to get going? What should they do?
Well, the easiest thing, just through our website, innovate.ms, there's a big green button that says Get Started. And through that button, they can, as a founder, submit an intake, and we can then follow up with them. Also, if they want to be a mentor to these companies or a service provider that's willing to work with these companies, many of which could be great, but it's something, they do have their own quirks when they're small.
Yeah.
They can all start that with the Get Started button on our main website at innovate.ms.
Talk a little bit, Tony, about the success the organization has had, where you've had just that, guided an entrepreneur through the process. They got out on their own, became self-sufficient, and created very successful companies.
Yes, and that's been part of the fun of it. I think, many of these companies are very risky, but as they've grown, to watch them grow and then, in some cases exit and have their investors repaid and have good opportunities. We just have had in the last week, one of the companies closed a $1.1 million funding round. Campus Knot was that company that announced, and we've been working with them from the very earliest stages, proof of concept funding. And then another one, they're not quite ready for public announcement, but it's been talking to the investors, is being acquired, is going to be a big opportunity. And that's just, that's happening all the time, but we're so excited to kind of work with them through that process.
So is there any requirement, Tony, when the organization works with a startup, you said they must be based in Mississippi, that they have to agree to stay here for a while in exchange for the services Innovate provides?
Well, where we've tried to implement those programs, we do have the Mississippi Seed Fund requires them to stay in Mississippi. They have to immediately repay if they receive that funding. But in most of the cases, we're trying to make sure we can connect them in a way that has them putting down roots and connections that make it hard to leave. And we found that a lot of those other artificial pieces make it more difficult on the company to grow. So the Mississippi Seed Fund is the only hard requirement that they stay in Mississippi, and that's required for the 3-year life of that investment when it's made. And then otherwise, we're trying to get them with local investors and those that keep them here, make sure they've got the roots down here.
Makes total sense. So it's all about getting these Mississippi-based technology companies off the ground, and what we hope is that they stay here permanently and create big headquarters one day is what I'd like to see. Appreciate it, Tony.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on. Tony Jeff, President and CEO of Innovate Mississippi, has been our guest as we wrap up Hour 1 of Middays. We're at the Sheraton Refuge in Rankin County for the annual Accelerate Conference held by Innovate Mississippi. We're coming right back with Ryan Miller, CEO of Oxford Lafayette County Economic Development.
Hour of Middays with Gerard Gibert is brought to you by the Mississippi Business Journal. Visit msbusinessjournal.com. Scott Coopwood, publisher and president.
Welcome to the show that challenges you to think deeply and look beyond political posturing. You're listening to Middays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Hour 2 of Middays. The Element Well Studio relocated to the Sheraton at the Refuge Golf Course in Rankin County on this
Hump Day.
We're here at the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference, the annual conference held by the Innovate Mississippi organization. Enjoying being around all these technology folks and business folks. And right now, speaking of which, it's Ryan Miller, the CEO of the Oxford Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation. Ryan, always good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on.
It's great to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, this is a great event, isn't it? This is something we should be proud of in Mississippi.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I was telling someone this morning, what's great about this event is you have people here who have great ideas that they want to see made into a reality, but they don't know how to navigate that space. They don't know where the resources are, where the mentorship is, where they can get a firm footing underneath them, and yet you also have people here that want to provide those things to them. So you're bringing together entrepreneurs, innovators, and people who are looking to invest in that innovation.
Right, and it's perfectly described. I was just talking to Tony Jeff, of course, the president and CEO of Innovate Mississippi, saying what they really do is assemble the entire ecosystem in this very compact area, and so you got everything you need. The good news is we got a lot of really bright people, young people in particular in Mississippi that have these ideas. They just need a little guidance,
they do.
Little help, little hand up.
They need access.
Yeah.
And even in my previous role when I was at Accelerate Mississippi, one of the things we always talked about was how do we create an environment where young people in Mississippi see Mississippi as their final destination. They're not going to parts unknown. They don't feel like they have to leave to go access the resource they need to be successful. They can do it right here in the Magnolia State. And this event is a great reminder that there are incredible ideas. There really are some creative, innovative thinkers in our state, and we got to do more to create an ecosystem that keeps them here.
Yeah, and I think we're doing a good job with Innovate Mississippi. Provides a very valuable role in helping these startups get to the resources they need to create successful businesses.
No question. Yesterday I had the privilege of sitting in with some of the co-builder pitch sessions as with some young entrepreneurs and some fantastic ideas. Look, I'd be shocked if every group that was in there yesterday did not walk out with investment from someone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which was a lot of fun to see. There was an energy in that room, an excitement in that room, and I think you're going to see the consequences and the results of some of that energy being new businesses and new technologies birthed right here in the state of Mississippi. It's exciting for I'm not a tech guy, and yet I understand that environment is growing and changing every day, and we've got that talent talent right here in our home state. It's just an exciting thing to celebrate with this event every year.
You're absolutely right. And, of course, you working in economic development, are you seeing, Ryan, that companies that are exploring Mississippi as an option to plant some roots, perhaps, or maybe expand their organizations, are witnessing the good things happening in our state and they're making decisions on that basis?
I do. I think you're seeing a trend where companies from around the world are starting to see the American Southeast in general as a new environment in which to invest and have a footprint and firm footing here in the North American marketplace. But I think Mississippi specifically has seen some great successes with Amazon, with collaborations with Google, even Microsoft being such a huge partner here. I think companies recognize the talent and the ability that our state has. We're resilient people. We're creative people. We're idea creators. And I think that they're making the wise investment. These companies see an opportunity to plant a flag in Mississippi before everyone else. It's kind of fun to watch, almost manifest destiny. We're moving. When companies are finding new territory and planting new flags, Mississippi is one of those environments ripe for investment. And so I think you're going to see more of that. Certainly up in Oxford and Lafayette County, one of our target markets for our new strategic vision is healthcare. Think about the innovations that are taking place both in terms of provision of healthcare, but all of the businesses around healthcare. It's all tech-driven. There's so much innovation and opportunity for growth there that we're even seeing companies that have some connection to the healthcare space looking at Oxford and Lafayette County now as a place where they want to bring their business, which is exciting for an economic developer like me.
Yeah.
So it's
really
great.
Interesting, and because I personally believe, just Gerard's opinion here, that we've seen an increase in the cost of health care. All Americans are aware of that. They're not happy about it. I think the only way we're going to get out of that trap and address that issue and start to curtail these price increases is through novel innovation and inventions by humans that come up with better and less expensive, more effective ways of providing health care.
Yes, and I think with an aging population, and certainly in our community, we're a top destination, certainly for young people with the university. We're also a top retirement destination. And so you have a need for a very diverse portfolio for health care provision there. But you're absolutely right. Technology is going to both enhance and improve how we receive medical care, but even just the business as a communicative business. How do you keep patients and doctors closer together in communication? Companies like C-Spire can do that. Some of the pitches that I heard yesterday are groups that have great ideas on how they can help bridge that gap between the patient and the provider. So I think Mississippi has a lot of opportunity. Certainly in our neighborhood and our community, we think we've got some great opportunity for that type of investment. I just love getting to come to this Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference to hear some of it and try to make connections that bring those opportunities back home to us.
Yeah. Let's talk about your area there, Oxford, Lafayette County. It appears to be booming. Certainly, if you're paying attention to the housing prices, which are a function of supply and demand, it's crazy.
It's a challenge. You know, I think as economic developers, we try to find balance. You got to find balance in how you make investments in your community. And right now, yes, it's a good thing that our real estate and the value of homes and land is high. And yet at the same time, it's a challenge because we have businesses there that they want to have more people that be able to afford to live within close proximity to their business. And so as an economic developer, trying to find balance in the companies that you recruit or the small businesses you try to encourage to grow from within that pay at a rate that allows for that workforce to find home close by. And in Mississippi, you're going to find great companies. People will drive for great companies and great jobs. We certainly see that in Oxford, but we want to provide more opportunities for people to put their roots down there and make their home. But it's pretty expensive at times.
Yeah. Well, you've also, of course, you're leveraging this. You've got a university in town, and it seems like, and it's a university where enrollment has spiked considerably.
Yes.
Do you feel like that's also driving the regional economy?
No question. And I think, the college town, I think probably Starkville, Hattiesburg, I know Jackson probably has some of the similar opportunities, but also challenges. You try to leverage those common denominators. So if healthcare is an area that we want to focus on technology and innovation, then there makes perfect sense that the university's pharmacy school, the medical school, the nursing school, the Natural Products Research Center, the Center for Manufacturing Excellence, where I used to work, using those resources to help help leverage to drive economic development, it also improves the students' overall experience, researchers and professors. It improves their overall experience. So there's no doubt that the resources at an Ole Miss or a Mississippi State or a Southern Miss, research institutions drive so much of what we do as economic developers in those communities.
Yeah, I mean, so leveraging that is what you should be doing, of course, as an economic developer.
Correct.
You sell the assets of the area, and it's a key asset.
Well, and there's no doubt when companies or entrepreneurs or innovators are coming through our community, it's impossible to separate the university from the experience of being there, and so you lean into it, and we should. You're an Ole Miss guy. I'm an Ole Miss guy.
Yeah.
I think folks in Starkville would say the same at Mississippi
We're seeing it there.
You lean into that, and I think we're going to see some great success. And I will say our collaboration with the university is an all-time high. So their economic development team, Dr. Higginbotham there, the Vice Chancellor for Research and Economic Development, his team that he has in place, we work hand in glove with them.
That's good to hear, because I know Mayor Tannehill always expresses the critical need for the city and the university to work cooperatively and collaboratively. And there have been some times, in the past where there's been a little friction there, but it seems like we're past that.
Yeah, I think so. And there's always going to be challenge. Anytime you're a popular destination for growth, there is going to be a challenge, ebb and flow between the infrastructure of the campus versus the infrastructure of the town versus the infrastructure of the county. There's always going to be some ebb and flow and some friction that comes up as you grow. That's just part of being successful as a community. And I think Mayor Tannehill has done an incredible job of navigating that. She is a team builder. She's a consensus builder. I think the Chancellor has been that as well. Dr. Boyce has done a great job of building consensus. And so, there's always room for improvement in our relationships, but I think we're working at an all-time high.
Well, I think that the results bear that out.
I agree.
If we weren't producing the results that we are in your region there, I don't think we'd have this environment of cooperation that we do. So I'm with you. I applaud the leaders, both at the university and in government there, that have forged that relationship.
I agree. It's exciting to see, and we want to see that done obviously more statewide in communities that have opportunities for that kind of collaboration that yields growth.
100%. Ryan Miller, CEO, Oxford-Lafayette County Economic Development Foundation, has been our guest. Appreciate it, Ryan. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you, Gerard.
We're coming right back. We're taking a break right now. Once again, we're at the annual Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference, and we'll be back with you with more guests.
Hi, this is Mark.
Properly set all controls before recording. All systems go.
The talk that keeps Mississippi talking. Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk Mississippi.
What a great song that is. Love the drums. Love the video. Appreciate that, Rhino. We're back with you, the Element Well studio at the Sheraton at the Refuge in Rankin County for the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. Wanted to pass on a couple of things. One is tomorrow night I'm going to be serving as the MC of the annual Squat and Gobble. You've probably heard the ads on our air. Squat and Gobble, an event held every year at the Country Club of Jackson to benefit the victims of domestic abuse and human trafficking. Looking forward to that. Going to have some great music, interviews I'm going to be conducting with Miss Mississippi and also Capitol Police Chief Poe Lucky, who was on our program yesterday. So we got some tickets to give away later on today. That's because Chicago is coming to Brandon next year. You don't want to miss it. You can win a free pair of tickets to see Chicago before you can even buy them, before they go on sale. Rhino's going to get that done for us in the third hour. And then Friday, Middays is going to be in Oxford for the annual Ole Miss Banking and Finance Symposium. To register for this event, go to the UM alumni page or email Dr. Ken Cyree at kbcyree, that's C-Y-R-E-E, at olemiss.edu. Always look forward to that event and discussing what's going on in the financial industry and the economy overall. Don't forget to go to myelementwealth.com or call 601-957-6006 to let Element Wealth help you find your balance between income growth and guarantees. So we've been talking a little bit about the H-1B visa program this morning on the C Spire text line. Gerard, Treasury Secretary, was on Fox and Friends this morning and explained the visa issues in detail. Listen, if you can. I did catch him on CNN when he kind of refuted what the commentator was asserting, I should say, about the Argentina, right? Rhino, the loan we made to Argentina. And it was a currency swap, in essence, and the Treasury Secretary discussed that. It's been kind of labeled as a bailout, and he rebutted that and said, no, it's not really a bailout. This is a currency swap, and we're making money off of it. I got to tell you, I haven't dug into it. I haven't gotten into the details, just saw the interview or a clip of that part of the interview where the journalist asked him that question about this bailout, and the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, said this wasn't a bailout. In bailouts, you don't make money, that we made money off this currency exchange to stabilize the currency of that country. So, again, I haven't personally researched that, but I intend to. So this was with Argentina, a swap deal. He was asked that about the $20 billion swap line the Trump administration put up for them. Now,
the text you're talking about is the secretary was
the H-1B.
On Fox talking about the H-1B.
Right.
And
I didn't see it.
He said that the foreign workers would be coming to America to train Americans and then going home.
Yeah, I don't buy that. Now, I know that that's part of the uses, one of the uses of the H-1B. It just doesn't seem to work out in practice, in my view. And I don't know. I'm not sure I'm totally buying that. But that would be, technically speaking, a valid use of the program. But I'm not sure that it works out that way in practice, I guess is what I would say. So, but of course, look, he's the Treasury Secretary, and the President is his boss, and the President is speaking positively about the H-1B visa program. Now, it's true. He's getting a lot of backlash on that, even from within his own party and more traditional supporters who feel like that, to some extent, the President is betraying his America First posture and agenda. And I guess I'll just say that when that program is used as is intended and it's not abused, I don't so much have a problem or an objection to it. But when it does get abused, in an example of that would be what you just talked about, Rhino. If you get foreign workers in here and they train American workers, but they never leave and they stay and they ultimately take the American workers' jobs, that's a problem. That's abuse of the program, in my view, and that is a risk. So, of course, the President did institute a $100,000 fee for companies seeking to obtain the H-1B visa, but the technology industry has been very critical of that. That's just adds to their expenses, and so naturally they're going to be in a state where they're objecting to that. Let's see what else we got going on here on the C Spire text line that I wanted to get to you. So, yeah, Kenny and Wayne County. Sometimes it has more to do with the work ethic than the price of the labor. I don't know that that's so much true, Kenny, in the technology industry and with respect to the work ethic. And again, I'm all about the best value and the most competent, the best performing employee, but I'm not for that when American workers of equal competence and quality and skills and talent and value are available, and that companies abuse the H-1B visa program to hire lower cost workers from foreign countries. That is an abuse that I disagree with. But I do think there's a place and time for it as well. And I'll also say that I think that's kind of been reduced. I don't know that there's as much a need for it as we once had. I think that we've done a better job. We've seen more young people enter those disciplines and acquire the skills necessary to work those jobs, more so than it was back when the H-1B visa program was used more widely, and so it's a concern. Now, something else that I wanted to pass on, it has to do with these $2,000 dividend checks the president has proposed as a result of tariff revenue coming into the country. And the Treasury Secretary, not long after Mr. Trump made that announcement via his Truth Social platform, did come out and say, well, we haven't really talked about the details yet, but I could see it coming in the form of tax cuts. And then he started talking about tax cuts that have already been enacted. So I couldn't get straight in my head, well, these tax cuts have already been enacted, so that's already in place. How would this be new? And then it hit me. I think what he may be talking about, because he specifically cited the provisions in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed into law when in June, I think, ultimately, right, Rhino, that was when the president signed it. And the provisions such as exempting tips for certain workers from federal income taxes, the premium portion of overtime, increasing the standard deduction for seniors. Those are the three main ones that affect a lot of individual taxpayers. So then it hit me. Think about this, folks. Those provisions are actually retroactive to January of this year, January of 25. But if you're obviously employed for the whole year with a company that whose workers do earn tips, or you've been earning overtime for your company, if those tips and overtime were earned in the 6 months leading up to the ultimate passing of the bill, 6 months of this year, withholdings have already occurred under the old tax provisions where your overtime was fully taxable, your tips fully taxable. So now you got the rest of the year where your employer is adjusting its withholding so that you're not, but for the first half of the year, you've already sent that money to the government. So what does that mean? You're going to get a refund. You're going to see a lot of refunds paid to people that fit into those parameters in 2026 for 2025 earnings, because half the year those tax provisions applied, but your employer already paid you and withheld under the old tax provisions. Thus, you paid in more than you're going to owe when you calculate your taxes due on your tax return. You're going to be set up for a refund. I think that's what Mr. Besant, the Treasury Secretary, was referring to. That, in effect, is a dividend. You could look at it in that way. It's going to be cash in your pocket because of these tax changes that applied for the whole year but weren't in effect when your income was being, or taxes were being withheld. We're coming right back with Jewel Burke-Solomon, managing partner, Collab Capital.
The talk that keeps Mississippi talking.
We're rolling. Hit it. Go. Play it.
Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk Mississippi.
That's Luke Graham and Foreigner bumping us into this segment. Thanks for that, Rhino. We are at the Sheraton at the Refuge in Rankin County for the annual Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. We're so pleased to be here amongst all these technology entrepreneurs and other members of the ecosystem that makes this business work, including our next guest, Jewel Burks-Solomon, managing partner at Collab Capital. Jewel, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us what you're looking for here today.
Well, I'm excited to be here in Mississippi. I was actually here just a week ago, so I'm loving Mississippi these days. But I'm here to share more about my journey. I'm a founder turned investor, so hoping to share some wisdom with the entrepreneurs who are here, talking about what I look for when I'm looking for new investments, and just sharing some lessons learned along the way.
What about your entrepreneurial background? Tell us about that.
Sure. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. So I like to say I got it honest. I grew up working in my family's businesses, everything from laundromats to service stations to my mom's an insurance agent. So was passing around brochures when I was a little girl. But my business was a technology business. So I built a business called Part Pick. It was a computer vision technology company that helped people identify replacement parts. So if you ever needed a nail, bolt, screw, washer, pipe fitting, anything like that for a repair project, we could help you find it with an image.
I'll be darned. Neat. So now you've turned investor, as you said, and you're here, and I assume you're looking for prospects to perhaps make some capital investment.
Sure. I'm always looking for great entrepreneurs and great businesses. I was just sitting in on the pitch competition that they're having. It sounds like there's some great businesses here. So I'm always looking particularly for early stage technology businesses to invest in.
What do you look for?
Well, it all starts with the founder. We invest early at Collab Capital, so we're really interested in the people. What is their journey? What's their story? Why are they compelled to spend their life working on this particular problem? So it starts with the people, and then we think about the problem that they're trying to solve. Is it a big problem? Is it something that is really painful for people that they're going to pay for a solution to? Are they on the cutting edge? Have they built something that's novel and interesting from a technology perspective? And then we also look at the business model. We have to make money at the end of the day. So we're interested in, is it a model that's going to have traction in the market where people are going to be excited to pay for the solution?
Sure. So are you providing equity investment, debt capital, all the above?
We do equity investments, so we typically are investing between $1 to $2 million, looking for anywhere between 5 to 10% ownership in the business.
Okay. For $1 to $2 million.
Yep.
Okay.
So usually investing at valuations between call it $10 to $20 million.
Yeah, I was going to say that'd be a decent sized company there, but that wouldn't be necessarily a startup, though, would it?
Yeah, it's a startup. Usually we're investing at the seed stage or Series A stage where the startup already has some traction in the market.
Okay.
They may already have sales. We've invested in companies that are on the low end, low hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, up into recent investments we've done that are closer to $5-10 million in revenue.
Okay. And have you created funds that are used to make these investments? Is that kind of how your structure works in your company?
That's right. Yep. We started in 2019. Our first fund was a $50 million vehicle. We made 38 investments into companies in that fund. And then we recently closed our second fund, which is $75 million. And we plan to make 30 investments out of that second fund.
And is there a particular, obviously you're here because of your interest in the technology industry. Is that where you focus?
Yep, we focus in technology across our portfolio. Now it's about 45 companies. Almost all of them are technology companies. We have one product company. We learned a lot. That was our first investment. We learned a lot on that one. It's actually doing great. It's one of our top performing companies, but we learned about ourselves that we're actually stronger technology investors than product investors. But yeah, we focus on technology. We see that as the path to really being able to scale, and also that's where our experience is, and we like to get in and be helpful to our founders, so play in areas where we have experience.
what's the profile of your investors, Jewel? Is it institutional investors, insurance companies, private equity firms, individuals, all the above?
All the above.
Yeah, okay, that's typical.
We in our first fund we had 97 limited partners, so
wow.
A ton of meetings, a ton of people ranging from high net worth individuals to corporations to foundations, family offices, and then in our second fund we were able to bring that number down a bit and have about 35 investors, but the same profile across high net worth individuals, institutions, corporations, family offices, etc.
So there have been some changes, have there not, in that allow individuals to perhaps direct some of their retirement investments, right, into the sorts of funds that you're running. Is that the truth?
Yeah, that is happening. Always say, and when I speak publicly, make sure you consult your financial advisor before making, because obviously venture capital is a really risky asset class.
Yeah.
But yes, there have been recent changes on the retirement side, as well as something I like to share with people is the donor advised funds. You can invest via your donor advised fund and get some tax benefit investing in startups and in funds.
Pensions. What about public pensions?
We don't currently have any public pensions as part of our limited partner group, mostly because the public pensions typically are investing in much larger vehicles. Yeah. They're writing huge checks, so that's an aspiration as we continue to grow the fund and grow our assets under management to have pensions in the future. But they usually are writing huge checks.
What do you think about Mississippi and this event?
I think Mississippi is great. Like I said, I've been here. This is my second time in the last 2 weeks, and I'm seeing and learning a lot. A friend of mine, Dr. Nashley Cephas, has been doing some really great work in Jackson.
Sure
and
has, yes.
I've come down to support the work that she does with the Bean Path a few times over the years, and so she's keeping me abreast of all of the developments and all the great things that she's doing in the community that is really growing here in the innovation ecosystem.
Yeah, and it is. You're, of course, aware of the major announcements that have occurred here in Mississippi, where technology industry is pumping a lot of money, a lot of investment into our state. I think this is going to be a springboard for more such investment. Do you not?
I agree. I think, whenever you have companies like Amazon and the like, where we had a great experience selling our company to Amazon 9 years ago, actually.
Wow.
And so, whenever you have those companies that have their eyes on a state like Mississippi, it is important that the people here locally really take advantage of the opportunities, make sure they're paying attention to what's going on, and leverage the fact that there is a lot of activity, a lot of resources, a lot of growth in that area, and make sure that everyone locally here gets to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it feels like those of us in Mississippi and have a little involvement in economic development, we're getting noticed outside of Mississippi in a way that I don't think we were quite before. We always knew it was a great place to live and work and raise a family and start a business. But it feels like that the rest of the countries, and maybe even to some extent the world, are catching on to that as well.
Yeah, I think so. And I look forward to spending more time here and hopefully finding some great investments and deals to do in this state. I'm originally from Alabama.
Okay.
And, born in Mobile, Alabama, grew up in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
So Southern girl, and really appreciate the southern states and what we have to offer. So I'm hopeful that we'll find some good opportunities here and be able to spend more time here as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we appreciate you being here. Did you see anything that tickled your fancy, as the saying goes, that you may talk to some of these startup folks about parking some money?
Yeah, I won't call any of them out just yet, but I did listen to a couple of the pitches and thought they were pretty compelling. So, I'm excited that there are so many people building great companies and taking big risk. That's what we have to do to make the innovation economy work. And so, excited to continue to learn more here.
Absolutely. Well, the good news is there's a lot of capital out there that are looking for good companies to invest in. Would you agree?
I think so. I think there is certainly a lot of capital. I think sometimes the capital can be a bit risk averse. So
Sure.
I'm always encouraging people to get off the sidelines and write those angel checks and really start to support companies, because there's a lot of money to be made in this space.
Amen.
And now with AI, the barriers to entry are lower. You can build a prototype in minutes at this point.
Yeah.
So I really encourage everyone to test out your ideas, try something, galvanize your community around whatever it is that you're looking to build,
Yep.
and hopefully you can build something that's great and successful.
That's awesome. Well, we're happy to have you here in the state of Mississippi, and I hope you find some good Mississippi companies that make sense for your investment, and hopefully they join your portfolio. That'd be great.
Yes, that'd be awesome.
Jewel Burke-Solomon, Managing Partner, Collab Capital, has been our guest. Thanks for coming on, Jewel.
Thanks so much.
We're stepping aside for a break. We're coming right back. We've got Clark Love, partner with Alden Capital. Stay with us.
Polyup of Mississippi.
Okay, is everybody ready?
I'm ready. Ready here.
Middays with Gerard Gibert on SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Well, since my baby left me, well, I found a new place to dwell. I was down at the end of the lonely street.
The king himself of rock and roll, Mississippi's favorite son, Elvis Presley, bumming us into this segment. It's our pleasure to welcome now Clark Love, partner at Alden Capital, LLC. Clark, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
So tell us what brings you here to Mississippi, this event. It's a pretty big deal. You may find some budding entrepreneurs that make sense for your portfolio, huh?
Yeah, that's right. I've been an entrepreneur myself and applying those skills to invest now. So I'm a part of the Mississippi Angel Fund, a group of business owners that invest in other entrepreneurs in the state. So I get a real kick out of learning stuff and hearing pitches and making some investments. And
yeah.
We made quite a few recently.
Well, good. Innovation, creativity is alive and well here in Mississippi.
Absolutely, and the pitches we've heard yesterday and today are a great example of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you feel like some make sense for some investment?
I have a strong feeling we'll be making some investments in some of the pitches we've seen today and yesterday.
Well, this is a great event, is it not, Clark, in that, as I've been saying on the show today, the entire ecosystem is present here. So you've got the entrepreneurs and their ideas and their companies. You've got the bankers, you got the investors, you got partners, you got lawyers, accountants, advisors, consultants, universities, really the entire ecosystem.
And that's what it takes. I mean, building businesses is really hard. If anybody's done it before, it's excruciating. So you got to have a good ecosystem to make it happen. If you don't have the ecosystem, you're just kind of swimming alone. But it takes all of that. It takes the capital. We've got a lot of capital investors here from all over the state, from inside the state, outside the state. When I was coming to this event 10 years ago, you didn't have that. And now we've got tons of investors. Great to see the capital formation happening.
Yeah. Well, it feels like that the entire ecosystem has expanded here in Mississippi, that we're getting national and even some degree global recognition. When you have big companies that decide to make massive investments in our state, it does lend a little bit more credibility, and I think it just gets exposure. We all know this is a great place to start a business, to live and work and raise your family and worship and so forth. But we don't tell that message as well as we should to the rest of the world. But when a big company says, yeah, we figured that out as well, it seems like it's instant credibility.
Yeah, the big companies help, but the small companies, the new companies are the lifeblood.
Oh, no doubt.
And you don't hear a lot about it, many of those, but there are tons of them out there doing great work. So,
and I think they will also benefit as well. But the state of Mississippi is doing well. This is a business-friendly state. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I've operated in several different states all over the country, owning different businesses, investing in different businesses. Mississippi is friendly as it gets. So.
Yeah, when it comes to tax policy and regulatory policy, and of course today, speed to market is so critical. And when companies are looking to make investments, be they startup or existing companies looking to expand into Mississippi, that's one of the things they look at.
Yeah, absolutely. And now in recent years, with the formation of the different angel funds, there are 3 that operate in the state. and Invest MS and Innovate, tapping into the startup capital has become, that used to be a major impediment. 10 years ago it was hard, but with the creation of those entities has become very easy, much easier than it used to be, which is great.
Explain that to the folks, Clark. How exactly does that work? The angel fund investment organizations and how they actually support small business startups or new business startups, I should say.
In Mississippi, there are 3 separate angel funds. They're managed by the members. Most all the members are either professionals or entrepreneurs or business owners themselves. They pool their capital together and then they invest together. And they typically invest the fund's money into new ventures, and then they'll do sidecars and invest alongside the fund.
Yeah.
And then there's some SBIC money that they can match, which helps leverage. Innovate manages that through Invest MS, which is great. So if we can find an entrepreneur that's got a great idea and they need $1 million, the angel funds can get together and invest $500,000, and then the SBIC Invest MS will invest the other half to leverage that money, and they're off to the races. So
administered by Innovate Mississippi. Some of that.
Some of it is, and some of it's private. So
yeah,
it's kind of a mixture. Yeah.
Well, the SBIC program in particular, I think, falls upon the shoulders of Innovate Mississippi.
Yeah,
but it is a good win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What's hot these days in any particular area? I mean, it's broad, it's wide, it's deep, which is good.
Well, AI is certainly having an impact.
Sure.
You're seeing that kind of infused into every business in some form or fashion. It's probably a little too hot in some areas.
Yeah,
Maybe
a little frothy.
Getting a little frothy. So is nuclear and other things, but we're not seeing that around here. But it's going to be, AI is going to be around a long time. It's going to have a huge impact for a couple of decades. So it's great to see entrepreneurs here kind of tapping into it and using it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And Mississippi is participating in that revolution in a big way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was good to see.
Clark, appreciate you coming on. Clark Love, partner, Alden Capital, LLC. Great event, and hopefully you'll find some good suitors and you'll park a little money there.
Yeah, I plan on it. Thank you very much.
You got it. Folks, we're stepping aside for a break. It's time for Fox News and SuperTalk News because it is top of the hour. We got more from the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference at the Sheraton in Rankin County. Stay with us.
Get ready to go beyond the headlines and join a meaningful conversation with people from around the state. You're listening to MidDays with Gerard Gibert here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's hour 3 of MidDays, the afternoon portion. We're coming at you live from the Element Wealth Studio at the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. That would be at the Sheraton at the Refuge in Rankin County on this
Hump Day.
All right, so we talked earlier about the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He's getting all his members back up there in Washington so they can make some more of them laws. But the first order of business, of course, to reopen the old government. And after that, there are a number of matters that are likely to come before the chamber there, the House of Representatives. One of those is the Epstein Files vote. That has gotten a lot of attention lately. Sponsors of that bill seek to release even more of the information in the so-called Epstein Files. Not really sure. Congressman Thomas Massey, the main one that is calling for a full release, and so is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who the firebrand conservative representative from Georgia, who just a day or so ago the president says has lost her way, is what he said about Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. So we'll see what happens with these Epstein files. Now, the other big one that Speaker of the House Mike Johnson's members will consider is the banning of stock trades by members of Congress. Senator Josh Hawley over there in the Senate, he partnered with some Democrats to advance a bill to force lawmakers and officials in the executive branch to divest from some categories of securities and investments and prevent anyone from trading individual stocks. The president got wind of that, and he was not happy about that. He does not want to ban stock trading and does not want him personally and his family and the executive branch there to divest of certain securities, as Senator Hawley's bill would require. And he proceeded to demean Senator Hawley, which is what the president does. If it's somebody that is working towards or on an agenda or for policy that he disagrees with or is critical of him, he called Senator Hawley a second-tier lawmaker. So this legislation would have forced the president to sell Mar-a-Lago, and that would not be the case under Hawley's bill. That's what the president thought, is that he would have to sell Mar-a-Lago, but Senator Hawley's bill would not require that. It stops short of requiring the members of the executive branch to divest themselves of that class of asset, in this case, a resort, real estate. But there is a bill in the House that would, in fact, ban members of Congress from trading in individual stocks. That came from Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, a Florida Republican. That's supposed to get a hearing in the coming weeks. This is going to be really fascinating to watch this unfold. This would force lawmakers to divest and ban members of Congress from trading individual stocks in the future. They could place those in a blind trust and outsource that to a wealth manager that handles that, where they don't touch it, they have no influence and no discussion, no decision-making about those trades. That would work, but as far as those members conducting and engaging in their own trading, that would not be allowed. And then we're going to see where all that goes. So on the C Spire text line, someone said, as Greg Ward said, that he apparently did see this interview with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent talking about the H-1B visa program this morning, and gave some examples of where companies are moving back to America, don't have enough trained people, and therefore they must leverage the H-1B visa program to fill those jobs. I feel like that the Secretary is getting a little ahead of himself on that. I get what he's saying, but again, it should be a last resort and should not be leveraged as a first approach to hiring the necessary staff to fill jobs. So I disagree with that. And now 70% of the jobs currently held by H-1B visa recipients, holders, are in the technology industry. And that really was the original thought behind the program. And that's gotten a little bit more spread in our economy into other industries. So it is true that data shows that they are paid significantly less than their counterparts doing equivalent technology jobs. It gives them a leg up with employers who want to pay less. Of course they want to pay less. But I agree, we should certainly prioritize American workers first. So one of the things that is starting to pop up a bit, you recall the president was imploring Republicans in the Senate to end the filibuster in order to pass the continuing resolution required to open up the government, fund the government, which of course then opens it, with a simple majority. And that turned out to not be necessary, as now we know some Democrats defected to the Republican side of that issue and ultimately passed the legislation. So the government is now set to be open once the House votes on the continuing resolution. But the question of should we have to deal with this every time we run out of money, because this is going to keep it open. Most of the government is going to be open under this continuing resolution through the end of January. There are 3 areas that are appropriated for the entire year, but those are limited in nature. They don't. The agriculture, Veterans Affairs, the legislative branch of government's funded, but the whole rest of government is only good to go until the end of January, except the mandatory programs which continue to run: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, all the other federal financial assistance programs. But where I'm going is, should we think about ending the filibuster? Now, in general, I support the filibuster and think that our founders were really somewhat courageous, I think, and also wise in establishing that rule. George Washington famously referred to the Senate as the cooling saucer for the hot mess that came from the House. That was the idea. The House is crazy, the people's house, and they may do things that are a bit radical, that don't receive all the appropriate proper level of thought and debate. Goes over to the Senate, you got to have 60 to pass that legislation, thus the cooling saucer metaphor. In general, I support that. But I do think that this perhaps makes a little sense. What if we repealed the filibuster, or we ended it, in order to repeal Obamacare? Because we're not going to repeal it in full. And even what happened in 2017 when John McCain did the famous thumbs down, that was what's called skinny repeal. It wasn't full repeal. It wasn't let's start over. It had a bunch of reforms that you could pass through the reconciliation process with a simple majority, but it really wasn't full repeal. We could end the filibuster, and with a simple majority, since the Republicans have the House, the Senate, and the White House, they could fully repeal the Affordable Care Act. And my contention is, as harmful as that legislation is, as bad as it is, as unpopular as it is, and Republicans, of course, have made that point, said that for quite some time, since it passed. Just devastating. If we repealed it, wouldn't that improve life in this country so much, so significantly, that the Democrats would not have a chance in winning elections in the future just by repealing this really, really bad law? Maybe on that basis, it makes sense to end the filibuster, to pave the way for that people would see, yeah, this is the right thing to do. And we would keep winning elections. We're coming right back at the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference.
It's so awesome! Middays with Gerard Gibert.
Come on, let's get on with the show.
On SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays. We are at the Accelerate Mississippi Conference, sponsored by Innovate Mississippi. We're at the Sheraton in Rankin County. is where we are. We're having a good time at the Refuge out here. Great golf course as well, talking to all these technology entrepreneurs and potential investors. And now we've got some folks that are from the education community. Tasha Bibb, Senior Program Manager in MSU's Office of Technology Management, and Trevor Acey, Senior Program Manager for the Mississippi State Entrepreneurship Center. Welcome to the program. Good to see you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So you're both based at M-City in Vicksburg. Did I hear that correct?
That's right.
Tell me what that's all about. M-City.
M-City is the acronym is the Mississippi Center for Innovation and Technology, and it's located there in Vicksburg, in downtown Vicksburg, and it really is about collaborating. There are a bunch of organizations there. The MRC has offices there, as well as ERDIC Works, and the goal is to collaborate to further technology development in the state of Mississippi.
Okay. So, Trevor, tell me about the Mississippi State Entrepreneurship Center. You're involved in that.
Sure thing, yes. I mean, the E-Center is our student-focused campus on Starkville's campus, trying to have students build and launch businesses, both undergraduate, graduate, and even faculty. So then my role at M-City in Vicksburg is much more community-focused. So we just want to support any would-be entrepreneurs, early founders. So some of the businesses that we worked with are here pitching at Accelerate.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So while they're in the college level, they're starting to come up with these ideas, I guess, and you want to get to them and provide the resources they may need to turn those ideas into action, as we say.
That's exactly it. Is that we do not have any shortage of great ideas in Mississippi. What we have a shortage of is founders who know how to take those ideas and turn them into viable, investable businesses.
Yeah. And that's what this event's all about, right? Tasha, because we bring together, I'd like to say, the entire ecosystem here. You could just look at the exhibitors here in the hall. We've got bankers, we've got investors, we've got potential partners, accountants, lawyers, and of course the entrepreneurs themselves. And Innovate Mississippi kind of brings all that together.
Mm-hmm, absolutely, yes. This is an event that we always look forward to every year because it is an opportunity to kind of get together with other players in the entrepreneurship ecosystem and network and strategize and catch up on what everyone's working on. So yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, that's a good point. The networking is often the most valuable takeaway, isn't it? Mm-hmm. When you get to talk to other people that, hey, what's working for you, what's not. I just know in my business career that I look forward to that more than I did, honestly, the all hands keynote speeches. But just talking to other people, especially from around the country, and we have people here that honestly are from outside of Mississippi as well. So, Trevor, we're starting to get noticed in the technology industry, our state, and I think that is a tribute to some massive investment that's come into the state, but. I think these companies and others that are part of the ecosystem are seeing that we got some really creative people here that are coming up with some great ideas.
Yeah, we've had a number of startups and founders, go on to other regional business accelerators and pitch competitions and things, and so then I think word's starting to get around that hey, some of these good businesses are from Mississippi, and so now one of the things that Innovate has done a really great job with this conference is bringing some of those investors here to see them before we send those teams out to those other regional events.
So talk about how Mississippi State is directly involved. I'll talk to you first about that, Tasha, in this ecosystem, because obviously you're an educational institution, but you have the Entrepreneurship Center, which is great, but you're here at this Innovate Conference. So you guys are involved in a lot in that respect.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and we have a really great relationship with Innovate Mississippi. In fact, we are one of their regional partners throughout the state, and so we work hand in hand to support entrepreneurs. We host events that are qualifier events for Innovate Mississippi's Coal Builders program.
Yeah.
So we'll have a pitch competition in the spring, and the winners of that will be eligible for the Coal Builders.
Okay. The pitch competition, so Trevor, talk about that for those that have never participated or experienced one of those. It's really something.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people are familiar with the show Shark Tank, and so taking that as a model. You get up in our events, you usually have about 10 minutes, and you go over your business plan. Hey, what's the problem I'm trying to solve? Here's how my, product or service addresses that problem in the market and how it solves it. And, we need money to do all these next steps and things that we want to take it to market or to grow even bigger if we're already, producing revenue. And then, you've got a panel of judges there that, are either industry experts or mentors in the space, and critique them, score them, and you get winners that get paid out different amounts of money. We gave out $10,000 in each of our 2 tracks at the M-City Pitch event last year.
And I think it's fair to say, is it not, Tasha, that often these develop and evolve into could be the next Amazon. I mean, they all started at this point.
That's right.
They all started with a concept that just came out of their brain, and they started looking for capital and pitching that to investors and looking for partners and other resources that they need as well. And you never know how far that can go.
That's right.
And that's exactly what we've witnessed in this country. It's a beautiful ecosystem that I'm not sure is there's any equivalent to in any other country. And it's alive and well right here in Mississippi.
Absolutely.
It's great, is it not, Trevor, whenever you can get the educational community, that's somewhat the public sector there, involved with the private sector, with the innovators themselves, the entrepreneurs, and then investors and institutional investors. This is just really good when all of them can come together and collaborate and work together. I think there was a time when there's a little bit of firewalling, especially between the education institutions and the private sector and private industry in general. It's not like that anymore, is it?
No, not at all. The collaboration is one of the things that I think makes this go round as well as it does. And that's both within the educational community. So Ole Miss and USM are great partners. They've got booths here as well. We're at their events. I'll be at a hackathon at USM next week, and they come and present at ours. And then the same, that what you're describing is the essence of M-City, right? So we have an event at the end of January where we showcase the public university research, some of our federal lab research, and then teams can come together, form an idea based on that research, and we not only help them with the product development side, but then we also walk them through, what does that tech licensing, tech commercialization look like. So it is all about partnership.
Well, that's really cool. The tools available today to streamline and just shorten the cycle of that process way better today than they were certainly when I was going through this 40 years ago. It's changed a lot. The good news is it makes it more available to more people. Is that kind of what you're finding out as well?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It used to be you kind of had to be at a certain level to even play, to get to the table. But now, with all the tools we have, everything's readily available. You just got to have a good idea, a will to work hard, and the ability to persuade the other parties that I'm going to return your money with a handsome return on it as well, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And that's going on here. It's alive and well.
Yeah, and I think that's something we need to do an even better job of promoting is that those pathways have gotten easier. Working with the state, working with the public institutions, but then also for the individual, you don't have to be a technology high experienced person anymore.
Absolutely true.
Even though these are tech-based ideas and products and things, the tools in the landscape now is we have many non-technical founders that are building technical products and businesses. It's really exciting.
That's a good point. The market doesn't care about that.
Not at all.
It cares about whether or not it solves a problem, and you want to hear that in the pitch. What problem are you solving here, and how big is that addressable market? And how much money do you need, and how much money can we make off this? That's pretty much it.
That's right.
And my experience in pitching for capital is that I would tell people they want to look you in the eye and make sure that you're going to get them their money back. That's what they care about. And that means you've got to be a trustworthy person. It's somebody that they've got to feel warm fuzzies about, as we say, and be trustworthy. And we have a lot of great people here doing that.
We do. Yeah. And building that team, the ability of the entrepreneur to pull together the right folks to help them take the venture forward and make it successful is also very important. And you're right, investors that's what they want to make sure you're able to do.
Unlike what I think is widely believed, they're really good at that too, aren't they? Of picking out, this one I think is ready, and maybe this one needs a little. They're really good at that. But that's what makes it work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And then you need folks with that level of experience and those reps. They've done it so many times on that side versus
That's right.
These founders, it's their first one. So you need that perspective, and that they're there to poke holes in it and help them fill them.
I love it. It's awesome. Tasha, Trevor, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Appreciate what you guys do, and appreciate you being part of this conference.
Happy to.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, we're stepping aside. We're coming right back. Once again, we're at the Innovate Mississippi Annual Accelerate Conference. That's at the Sheraton at the Refuge in Rankin County. We got a couple of segments left. Stay with us.
This program.
Gerard Gibert.
Here we go.
This is huge.
Huge news.
Huge news. Huge.
You need to listen to this.
Middays with Gerard. SuperTalk, Mississippi.
Okay, when I hear that, I feel like I need to be driving. It's like a great tune to drive to. Van Halen. Appreciate that, Rhino. Good stuff. So before, in the last segment when we were talking, I just mentioned
Before that, we need to give away some tickets.
Oh, yeah. Pardon me. I forgot all about that. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Because one of the best-selling bands of all time, Chicago, is coming to Brandon next year, and you don't want to miss out on it. Today through tomorrow, you can buy pre-sale tickets by using the code BA2025 at Ticketmaster.com. But we're giving you a chance to win a free pair of tickets to see Chicago before you can buy them without the pre-sale. All you got to do is be the 17th person to text into the C Spire text line the words 25 or 6 to 4. We will accept numbers, or you can spell it out. Numbers would probably be faster. Text it to 601-879-4395. Be the 17th person to text us 25 or 624, and you'll win a pair of tickets to see Chicago in Brandon.
There you go. 25 or 6 to 4, one of the most famous tunes ever recorded by the iconic group Chicago. So I see them rolling in on the text line right now. So I was talking earlier about the possibility of ending the filibuster in the United States Senate, which would pave the way for any legislation then to pass with a simple majority. As it stands right now, only certain types of legislation that deals with the budget can pass with a simple majority through what's called the budget reconciliation process, and a lot of times there are limitations on how long certain provisions can remain in place, such as with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which just passed in June, extending the Trump tax cuts, but some new provisions inserted exempting the premium portion of overtime from federal income taxes, tips for certain workers, increasing the standard deduction. Those provisions only endure through the end of 28. They're not permanent. If those were passed with the 60 votes in the Senate, could make them permanent. Well, no Democrats are going to support those, so that's wishful thinking. Let's see, do we have a winner, Rhino?
We do, just confirming with them.
All right, awesome. So, congratulations. Tickets to go see Chicago in Brandon. And so I was suggesting this Obamacare thing that Republicans have been talking about repealing forever and a day, could have done it in Trump's first term, did get so-called skinny repeal to that point, but unfortunately John McCain thumbs down it and would allow it to go through. But that was not complete full repeal that they had promised and certainly had been working toward. You couldn't do that if you ended the filibuster. Now, I started thinking about that simply because the most controversial matter throughout this shutdown debate has been extending the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare enhanced subsidies. Instead of debating that, as the Senate Majority Leader John Thune has indicated he would allow, Just repeal the whole thing. That's what you've been promising, and that's what I think has been promoted by Republicans, that this is super destructive law. It just needs to be repealed, and let's start over and pass something better, because this affects everybody in the country. Maybe it makes sense to end the filibuster, repeal it, but then either just let it die at that point, it's repealed, we're back to pre-Obamacare health care rules and regulations in this country, or pass something that truly could improve the access to and cost of care. Some different legislation to do that. You're not going to do that as long as the filibuster-proof majority is required in the Senate. You're never going to get any Democrats to sign on to that. And I don't think we'll ever have 60 senators. It just doesn't look like that's in the cards anytime soon. But if that would benefit the country so much, which I believe it would, seems to me like voters would say, you know what, I'm really glad the Republicans did this. I'm not voting Democrat anymore. It would make it so hard for the Democrats to campaign. Are they going to campaign on invigorating and reviving the Affordable Care Act? Restoring that? I just don't think so. If it creates and produces so much benefit for voters, I don't think they would vote for Democrats who are going to campaign on, voted against full repeal, or going to campaign on restoring it. That's my theory, and I think it's something we ought to think about. I'd also like to see us institute a 15% corporate tax rate. The president talks about that on the campaign trail. Can't do that without 60 votes currently in the filibuster. You could drop the corporate income tax rate down to 15%. Chuck Schumer and Liz Warren and Bernie Sanders and that ilk, they'd absolutely pass out in the U.S. Senate if you did that, which means it's good policy. And then the other thing I'd like to see happen that I think would, again, another tax policy that would boost the American economy and the generation and creation of wealth, and that's reduce the capital gains tax to 15%. I think you'd see massive investment in innovation and productivity and value creation, job creation. Really do believe that. I think now's the time for the Senate to consider ending the filibuster and pushing through those legislative measures, repealing Obamacare, pushing the corporate tax rate down to 15%, and reducing the capital gains rate down to 15%. The Democrats would go crazy. Oh, the wealthy are going to get wealthier, and the big corporations aren't going to pay their fair share. That's because they don't understand the realities of economics. And I think they're wrong completely about that. We already saw a 40% increase in corporate income taxes as a result of reducing it in the president's first term, the corporate rate from 35 to 21. I get it. The fear is, man, if we did that into the filibuster, we'd open up the door for the Democrats to do that when they get the numbers in the Senate and in position to do that. Well, don't you know that they're going to do that regardless? It's not like, oh, well, the Republicans didn't do it, so we can't do it either. They don't think like that. They wanted to desperately in Mr. Trump's first term, but fortunately, Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema stood in the gap there and wouldn't allow it. Well, I mean, we're those two senators away from opening up the floodgates and unleashing the entire wrath of all the bad Democrat policy. And they will absolutely seize on that opportunity if they get the numbers in the Senate and control the House and the White House. No question about it. They will do it because they will see it as so transformational, such as adding D.C. as a state, and packing the Supreme Court, instituting extremely strict gun control, forcing everybody to join a union, opening up the borders, codifying the right to an abortion, federalizing our elections, all the above. They would absolutely push that through. They're chomping at the bit to do it right now, just waiting for the numbers to work out where they don't have any of their senators who would block that. They get to the 50+1 or 51. They will absolutely ram through our worst nightmare. What we're talking about is repealing really bad legislation. And in the Affordable Care Act, which is not affordable, and also the reducing the federal tax rate on corporations and capital gains. They didn't do it in Obama's first term because they spent all their capital on passing the Affordable Care Act, and there were Democrats back in Obama's first term that didn't see fit to do that. This ain't your Democrat Party of 2009, I can assure you. This is completely different. They will absolutely ram it through, and they did their best to persuade Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin to yield, and they wouldn't. And that's what kept the filibuster intact and prevented all that bad policy from becoming a reality. Unbelievable. So, let's see what else we got here on the C-Spire text line. My goodness, says Matthew, I would like to see capital gains at 15%, and I'd love to see 401k limits raised higher and higher, give people a reason to save. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you, Matthew. That's why we need to institute good policy while we can by repealing the filibuster and at least suspending it long enough to get this policy through that you'll never get Democrats to agree with. I personally believe, again, it would produce so much positive benefit for the country, it'd make it really, really, really difficult for the Democrats to win elections in the future, and it likely would result in the Republicans attaining the 60 seat threshold in the Senate, where they wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. We're going to come right back. The Element Well studio is at the Innovate Mississippi Accelerate Conference. We got an award to give out at Accelerate.
Is Congressman Michael
Gerard Gibert, going beyond the headlines, breaking down the stories that matter to Mississippi. Middays with Gerard on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Middays, final segment today from the Innovate Mississippi Annual Accelerate Conference at the Sheraton at the Refuge in Rankin County. So it's our pleasure to welcome now Representative Lawrence Blackman and also Roger Roman. They are co-founders of Legalese, and you guys just won a big award.
Absolutely.
I saw the big check, $15,000, right?
That was the biggest check I've ever
big
got.
check.
That was a big check. Big check.
So tell us about Legalese.
So Legalese is a Mississippi-founded legal technology startup company that specializes in using emerging technologies to build platforms that empower people to handle what we call non-complex legal matters on their own without an attorney, always at a fraction of the cost.
Interesting. So we've seen kind of the advent of tools that allow you to draft contracts and wills, and that's become estates and trusts and stuff like that. Is this kind of an extension and just adding on to that, just a kind of a catalog of typical legal needs an individual or a business may have that they could use your tools to accomplish that?
Yeah, so that's a very good point, and so one of the leaders in that sector that you just mentioned, Trust and Will, right? Yeah. They're a technology company.
Right.
We also graduated from the same accelerator program, the Techstars Economic Mobility Accelerator based out of New York.
Very
cool. We
cool.
graduated from that program. Trust and Will graduated from that program, and so you hit the nail on the head. We kind of see ourselves as an extension of that emerging market where people are using things like artificial intelligence to do things that they used to have to go and sit in front of a lawyer and pay thousands
and pay a bunch of money.
That's right. That's right. The lawyers, if any lawyer who thinks that they're not going to be touched by the immersion of artificial intelligence, they're just wrong.
Yeah, agree.
They're wrong.
So, Roger, whose idea was this?
It was his idea, actually.
Okay.
Took a little bit of convincing.
Okay.
I was actually working on another startup when he came to me with the idea at the time, and after doing a little bit of research and seeing that there was a gap in the market, and he was actually right about the stuff he was saying, I dived in full steam.
Okay. So, did you hire a development staff, contract with a third party? How did you get this tool created?
So he was the first developer. First it was just Roger, and I just had this idea, and tell him what you did, Roger.
So usually with a tech startup, you build an MVP first to validate the idea, to prove that there's a demand, prove that you can build something that solves a problem. So I did that. It wasn't the most technologically advanced product, right? It was it was very basic. And once we proved that there was demand and people wanted to use it, we went and we found our CTO, Mr. Rashid Ali, who actually we met while we were at Howard as well, back a long time ago now. And he came on and did the heavy lifting in terms of building out the workflows and everything from that point. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience, overall. Just kind of building something from the ground up and seeing it come to life and seeing it help a lot of people.
So, are you in production, or is this commercially available now as a consumer? Can I go find it somewhere and utilize it?
You can find it and you can use it right now. If you have something on your record that the legislature has already decided is eligible to be expunged, you can visit legalease.com. You can chat with our AI-powered legal assistant, Wilma, and she will guide you through that process without a lawyer.
Did you build your own LLM, or are you utilizing some that were commercially available?
So we are utilizing commercially available LLMs. The good thing about Wilma is that her workflows and her knowledge is proprietary. So even though we're using the base model, which pretty much every AI startup that comes to an
no need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. It's just similar to building a website on the internet, right? It's the same idea. But we have proprietary workflows and proprietary process that we built on top of it.
I got you. Well, that's really cool. So, assume you're based here then, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, that's right. We're based right in Canton, Mississippi, and we're very proud of that. We are a Canton, Mississippi founded and based legal technology company, and we consider ourselves to be leaders in the space of legal tech.
That's awesome. Yeah, I will tell you, I agree with you. I used to be in the technology industry, and we were a big Cisco systems partner, and something that stuck with me, and this is probably 15, maybe even more years ago, the longtime CEO of Cisco, John Chambers, who's considered one of the best ever in Silicon Valley. He made a statement that in his keynote address to the partner community from all over the world that we're all subject to being Amazoned or Ubered. Talking about being disrupted. So your point about if you think that you're going to keep pushing out some of this sort of low-end kind of legal work, and even with AI, it could be even high-end, more complicated legal work, and not be disrupted by this technology, you're living in a vacuum.
That's right.
It doesn't matter what the job is or what the discipline is.
That's right. And so, from my perspective as an attorney, I'm seeing this technology emerge, and I'm seeing it coming, and I'm imagining all of the ways it's going to impact us as attorneys. And we've already been impacted by the emergence of these mega firms, right? Your Morgan & Morgan and these huge firms with these national reach, with the national reach now, doing things that, 20 years ago they would not have been able to do it because the technology would not have existed to allow them to scale. And so I'm looking at the things that they're doing, and at the same time, I have this constant inbound of people asking me, hey, do you do expungements? And I'm like, man, this work is so easy, it's so formulaic. If we took this emerging technology and paired it with this gap in the market, we'd be working with something really special. And so that's what we did.
Yep.
Roger, Lawrence, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good job, man.
Appreciate it.
Neat technology.
We're going to have you back. I'm a huge SuperTalk fan.
Awesome.
Please have me back.
You're going to come back.
You all had my... I saw that. I got jealous. I said, I got to get on SuperTalk.
You'll be on. We're out of here today. Back with you tomorrow. Stay safe and God bless everyone.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.